morning and welcome to my little world. So this week we're going to look at another one of my little doll houses. This was actually the first dollhouse puzzle that I got when I was living in Hawaii, and that was in about 2015 when I got this, and I put it together and decorated it. And I thought we would take a look at it today because the doll village has still battened down its hatches, and it's got one more week of that. So next week I'll be able to be back to the rooms in my doll village. But this is, I believe, a 1:24 scale dollhouse. Again, like the one you saw last week, I put this together as a puzzle and used very little glue on it because that's the way I like to do things. So let's take a closer look. So here's the front door, and as you can see, I used a lot of my stained glass coloring book designs to cover the windows, and I put an arch over this door. It has this little porch. This is a little sewing kit that I took some ribbon and weaved it in and out of the threads to make a little rug. And then these flowers in front of the door are some buttons that I glued on top of other buttons. Oh, they're glued down. Most of this house is glued down, but you can see the back of that button. And then it's on top of another button to display it. And over here we have some pretty windows. You can see that I didn't paint most of the exterior of the house. I just left it the unfinished wood, and then I added color like on the porch railing. And then I also added some pieces of card for decoration. Here's the stained glass windows on the second floor, and the window on the second floor, and it has, I put the stained glass picture on the inside of the window and put an arch over it. Up here we have a little fairy sitting. So you saw there was a fairy in the Dollhouse Museum last week, and there's a fairy here. I actually had many fairies for a while. There was a time when I lived in Hawaii and I was living in my car for about 1.5 years, and I decorated my car, and I made a bunch of these little fairies and hung them from the ceiling, from the roof of the car. And then I got pictures, beautiful pictures of orchids at the library, and I collaged them and decoupaged them onto the different parts of the interior of my car, and I called it my fairy mobile. And that was a lot of fun. And sometimes I used to pick up hitchhikers in Hawaii because that's a very common way of getting around there. And sometimes I hitchhiked myself, but when I had a car, I would pick up hitchhikers, and they found my car to be rather delightful. So here is the roof of the house, and it has this picture of a fairy. I can't think of her name right now, but she's very famous for making these beautiful pictures of fairies that also, when you look closely, contain things like the night sky and a whole valley scene. Josephine, it's coming to me. Anyway, she makes beautiful pictures, and I had a card of hers, Josephine Wall. And so I put that on the roof here, and then also some round stained glass designs on the 2 round windows. This house is called a Gothic house kit. Here's some little flying birds, and just painted the gingerbread black up there. Here's another little picture of a fairy from a card or some wrapping paper or something. So I'll turn it. I have this house on a turntable so that it's easy to turn it and see the inside. So here's another stained glass picture on the inside of the window. And then here are the side windows. This is also on the inside. And this one has an arch above it. And this is the little light fixture that came with the kit, and I just glued it on this side. And then to see the other side of the house, we have here, I made this myself. This is a little button dog, and I just made this little dog house out of some scraps that were left over from the pieces of the house that I put together. And then here's another stained glass that's on the outside of the window, and a pretty design on the top. And this one on the outside. And then on this side, we have a missing chimney. I don't know what has happened to it. I think it disappeared when I mailed this house to New Mexico when I moved here in 2016. But I put this pretty card on and some stars on this side of the roof. And you can open the card up and read it. Where moonbeams fall, in the soft muted colors of the night, the ethereal fairy dances among the moonbeams, scattering stardust in her play. Serenity and inner joy are reflected in the radiance of her expression and the lightness of her fairy ballet as she dances in communion with the universe. Listen to the whispers of your heart. Cherish your most precious dream. Feel the magic in the air. Dance on a bright moonbeam. You can see that the roof around this card is discolored because it sat in the sun, and it's been around for many years. So I got a bit tired of this house and put it away for a while, but I wanted to get it out to show you. So here is the interior of the house, and there are some people who live here. So we'll start on the bottom floor, and here is the kitchen, and there's Mama and the baby. And these were little wooden dolls. I added the little veil to the baby's head, and she's sitting in a high chair. Again, this is some of the furniture that I got that are just puzzle pieces that you fit together. There's this table back here, and it has a hamburger on it, salt and pepper. I don't think those were meant to be salt and pepper. I'm not sure where I found those, but I found something that looked like salt and pepper, I think. And here's Mama, and she's made with one of the wooden dolls. They're like little Christmas dolls, but you can see that I put the skirt around her, so she was only that big, and then I added the skirt to make her taller, to make her the mother. And I'll move her out of the way for now. Here's a little dog button and a bone button and a pretty necklace or earring that I hung on the wall, little baskets. I put little stickers on the stairway that goes up to the next floor. In the back we have this little furniture piece, a cookies button and some peppers button, And what does that say? Baked with love. That's another button. The grater and the pan are also buttons, and the set of spoons. Down here we have a little half thimble button that I used as a trash can. And over here we have I think it was a coffee cup button. I think I actually cut it. It was with something else that I cut off to make it into a cup. And then there's this little platter with fish bones on it. And there's just a little triangle of fabric for the rug here. We'll put Mama back so she can take care of the little girl. And next door is the living room. And there is a stained glass picture on the wall. And more of the furniture. Here's another dog button with a bone button. And oh yes, I think this was the other half of the cup that I cut apart. So it's a little wonky, but I like it anyway. So that's the coffee table. Then we have these two chairs, and I put some little pieces of fabric in them with these buttons for pillows. And here's the couch with fabric and buttons. This is a little hanging necklace that is a bird in a cage. And we have a little boy sitting on the stool playing the piano, and it has a button on it that says music. And there's the front door with the stained glass on it, and I painted it purple. And then here's another earring hanging on the wall as a decoration. So then we go up to the second floor, and we have a pretty fairy in the window. We have a fairy with a bird that was from a card, and a little bookcase with some books, a lizard rug, little piece of fabric, a spool of thread with the thread still on it in blue, and topped with a little wooden piece, and a carafe and glass. And then this lounge, which has a piece of fabric on it. And in the back is a little table with a sewing machine and a little spool of blue thread. So I guess this is the blue room. And over next to it, we have the bedroom. This is a boot button and a teddy bear button and a little bed with some fabric on top of it, a cat button and a teddy bear button on this bed in the back, and I painted some designs on that. And it's difficult to see, but there's some designs on the side of it as well. And then we have the wardrobe in the back with another cat button on top of it, and a little light fixture similar to the one in the museum. This one's blue, and I just stuck a twist tie through the hole where the awning is attached on the outside. Stuck it through the hole and hung the lamp from it. There's another arch above that window. I love arches. On this side there are some little tiny pictures. Not sure where I got those. They might be stamps or something. And these stairs also have some pretty sticker designs on them. And then when you go up the stairs, you get into the bathroom. So here's a little table with some lavender thread on it, a little sink and toilet and bathtub. There's a little rug in front of the bathtub, a little giraffe on the floor. I put some cotton in the bathtub to look like bubbles, and a little ducky button. And then there's another light fixture here, which is a yellow one that I just hung from the ceiling. And there's the round stained glass design in that window. And then we come over to this room, and this is the playroom. So there's a little boy playing on a rocking horse here, and I painted the rocking horse, lots of bright colors. There's a train button on the floor, some little blocks that came with something, a little train that I got, and they're just tiny little blocks, so I put a few of them in here. There's a little rocking horse button and some more train buttons. Back here we have a little table with a TV on it, and I put a little picture of a mouse that was from a card on the TV. And there's a sewing machine in this room as well, because I love sewing and sewing machines. And a little spool of pink thread. And this is a dress button, and I just cut out a little cardboard hanger for it to hang it from the ceiling. And then you can see the fairy picture in the back of this room as well. So that's all for this house. And I have a few more things to share with you today, a little bonus to this video. So I would love for you to see this house when it was first made and the colors were much brighter and everything was new. And so I'm going to link a video in the description that is to this house and also to the whole little Christmas village that I had back in 2015, 2016. So be sure and watch that, and you will get to see more of this house and all of my Christmas village at that time as well. So if you remember my Dollhouse Museum from last week, this was the refreshment area and the stairs, and there's this big wall on the side. And when I got out the other house to show you this week, I discovered this picture, which used to be in the museum. So it went on this wall, and I restored it to its proper place. So I just thought I would show you how that went in the Doll Museum. And it's from a small stained glass coloring book that I had, and then I attached this picture to it as well. So that will help the museum look a little more finished now. So I thought I would show you a little bit of footage from my trip to California to my brother's house there. And we had a wonderful family time. Lots of people hanging out by the pool, playing games, and having a great time. Beautiful blue skies. The temperatures were not too hot, not too cool. It was a pretty nice climate to be in this time of year, so it was quite pleasant while it was reaching 100 degrees at home in New Mexico. My twin brother and I celebrated our 67th birthday on the 3rd, and I got to see my son and his family who came from Japan to this gathering. There were lots of beautiful flowers planted around the property, and it was nice to walk in the morning or the evening. This was a lemon tree. They have several on their property, and my sister-in-law used the lemons, Meyer lemons, to make a delicious lemonade. And right next to it is a plant that produces a fruit that's called a Buddha's hand. The flowers and palm trees and everything reminded me a lot of Hawaii when I lived there. Really gorgeous. So thank you for visiting my channel today, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.